जय यशोदानन्दना जय व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनातिरावनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय यमुनातिरावनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुञ्जविहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुञ्जविहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथाय जय बलदेवाय जय सुभद्रमैया जय हो सुदर्शना जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी जय हो लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय हो अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज जय वामन देव जय हो वामन देव जय हो गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय हो गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। नित्यलीला प्रविशय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन बीबीटी संस्थापकाचार्य जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई श्री सुदर्शन महाराज की जय। श्री गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा स्वामी भगवान प्रहलाद महाराज अनंत देव की जय। श्री गिरि गोवर्धन महाराज की जय। वामन देव भगवान की जय। श्री गौर निताय की जय। पंच तत्व तुलसी महारानी षड गोस्वामी गुरु परंपरा शील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताई गौर सितनाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते नरसिंहाय नमः तेजस तेजसे। ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्नमाम्यहम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome you all in today's morning session of Srimad Bhagavatam, and today we are going to read from fourth canto, second chapter, and verse number 27. So I'm going to share my screen. So let me know once you are able to view it. I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, second chapter, and the verse number 27. So you can repeat me wherever you are after me. तस्येवं वदत शापं श्रुत्वा द्विजकुलाय वे भृगः पत्स्यसृजच्छापं ब्रह्मदण्डं दुरत्ययम्। तस्येवं वदतं शापं श्रुत्वा द्विजकुलाय वे भृगः भृगुः प्रत्सच्छापं ब्रह्मदण्डं दुरत्ययम्। तस्येवं वदत शापं श्रुत्वा द्विजकुलाय वे भृगु प्रत्सज्य छापम ब्रह्मदंडम दुरत्ययम. So synonyms, translation, and the purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So synonyms, Tasya Hij Nandishwaras Evam thus Vadataha words, Shapam the curse, Shrutva hearing, Dvijakulaya unto the Brahmanas, Vaya indeed, Bhruguha Bhrugu, Prasajata made, Shapam a curse, Brahmadandam the punishment of a Brahmana, Duratyayam insurmountable. Translation: when all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishwara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahmanical curse. Purport: the word Duratyaya is particularly used in reference to a Brahmana cursed, cursed by a Brahmadanda or cursed by a Brahmana. A curse by a Brahmana is very strong. Therefore, it is called Duratyaya or unsurmountable. As the Lord states in Bhagavad Gita, the stringent laws of nature are unsurmountable. Similarly, if a curse is uttered by a Brahmana, that curse is also insurmountable. But Bhagavad Gita also says that the curse or benedictions of the material world are their all material creation. After all, material creations. The Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms that which is accepted in this material world to be a benediction and that which is taken to be a curse are both on the same platform because they are material. To get out of this material contamination, one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as recommended in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Mam eva ye prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. The best path is to transcend all material curses and benedictions and take shelter of the Supreme Lord Krishna and remain in a transcendental position. Persons who have taken shelter of Krishna are always peaceful. They are never cursed by anyone, nor do they attempt to curse anyone. That is the transcendental position. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौतुसे नमः. पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. जयतां सुरतोपंगोर मम मंदमतेरगति मतः सरस्वपादाम्भुजो श्रीराधामदनमोहनो दिव्याद्वृन्दरण्यकल्पद्रुमदौ श्रीमद्रत्नागरा सिंहासनो स्थो श्रीमद्राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठालिभिः सेव्या मनुस्मरामि श्रीमनरासरसारम्भि वांसी वटतट स्थितः कर्षणवेणु स्वनिर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। हरे कृष्णा। So once again welcome you all in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, and welcome you all on behalf of Iskcon Seshadripuram. And as stated, we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 2nd chapter, and verse number 27. So I think most of you are already aware of that what is being discussed in this chapter, what is being, being discussed, and we are going to discuss on the same the theme basically. So here, if you see that if you are not, those who are not aware of the background of this particular verse, so I'm just going to give a background that why actually Bhrigu Muni gave curse to Nandishwara. So here actually, if you see in the translation, we are going to read it one more time for the benefit of everyone here. That when all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishwara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahminical curse. So that particular curse will be discussed in the next verse. But in this particular verse, we are going to understand that what exactly happened, that Bhrigu Muni actually gave curse to Nandishwara. So that's very important from the perspective of all the devotees who want to understand the background of this particular verse and to understand that what is being said and what is being discussed in this particular verse. So in this chapter, this is basically, I mean, if you know that it is this is a conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Muni, right? So Vidura is asking questions and Maitreya Rishi or Maitreya Muni is answering those questions. And those question and answers are being discussed. And Maitreya Muni basically he is expanding his answers and is giving the background of what is being discussed between Maitreya Muni at that time when he heard all these conversation from Uta Goswami, who is the main speaker. And when it was happening at that time, this particular verse is being taken or being actually, you can say it is coming in the flow of this particular chapter where Lord Brahma has actually asked Daksha Prajapati to perform a grand yajna. And as you know that yajna, whenever yajna is performed, all the demigods are being invited, all the, the ministers of Indradeva, right? He's the prime minister of all the, ministers, right? And his cabinet is, comprising of all the demigods. And he's heading the, that particular cabinets of demigods. And all demigods are given different portfolios as it happens in the material world, right? Similarly, all the demigods, along with the head of the demigods, that is Indra, right? And all the sages and all the powerful personalities of the entire universe were invited in that particular yajna. So when it was happening, that particular yajna, at that time, Daksha Prajapati entered in the arena. And when he entered, all the personalities, including the demigods, except Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, everyone actually stand to give respect to Daksha Prajapati. But Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva didn't stand. This they kept on sitting on their asanas. So when it so happened that when Daksha Prajapati entered and everyone actually paid their obeisances and they stood, but Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma didn't stand. So this actually created, because Lord Brahma anyway, he is the supreme creator in terms of secondary creator. And Daksha Prajapati was very intelligent, right? He is one among the foremost Prajapatis, right? So you could understand that Lord Brahma is fine if he is not actually standing in you know, to give me respect, because he is elder to me, right? So he can understand. But since Lord Shiva was his son-in-law, right? So it is a kind of, you can say that in material world, son-in-law's position is actually lower than the father-in-law, right? So whenever father-in-law comes, it is normal for a son-in-law to stand and give his obeisances, right? But Lord Shiva actually didn't, stand. He kept on sitting on his asanas, and that actually created a rage in Daksha Prajapati's heart, and he couldn't tolerate that. How come my son-in-law, who is actually, because from the beginning itself, right, Lord, Daksha Prajapati is having, reservation towards Lord Shiva. He wasn't actually convinced to marry his daughter Sati with Lord Shiva. But as we know that, Lord Brahma intervened, and he actually, told Daksha Prajapati that now actually you should marry Sati with Lord Shiva. And he accepted and he got convinced, and then actually we know that how Lord Shiva got married to Mata Sati. But still, he was having all kind of reservation towards Lord Shiva, because from the bottom of his heart, he couldn't remove the conceptions or the grudges that he have developed toward Lord Shiva, even after marrying his daughter to Lord Shiva. And because of that, because already he was having those grudges in his heart, because he was thinking that my daughter should marry to the handsome personality and who should be the most powerful person in the universe. But when Lord Shiva appeared, or he actually, when he saw Lord Shiva, he was a mendicant, right? Sometime he's wearing something, sometime he's not wearing. In body is smeared with the ashes, and that again, those ashes were from the crematorium, right? So that kind of lifestyle wasn't in line with the thought of Daksha, and that actually created rage in his heart that, somehow or other, because of Lord Brahma actually asked me to do that, to marry my daughter Sati to Lord Shiva. I did it, but still in his heart he's having all grudges. And on top of that, when Lord Shiva didn't stand, when everyone except Brahma and Lord Shiva didn't stand to give, respect or obeisances to Daksha Prajapati. So Daksha Prajapati got furious to see that he's my son-in-law and he's not actually befitting to the position to become my son-in-law. Still, I have given him this position, but he's not even following the normal social protocols, right? So that actually created fury in the heart, and he started speaking wrong about Lord Shiva, right? And as we know that Lord Shiva is above all these kind of material obligations, right? And he actually didn't even think of disrespecting Daksha Prajapati by not standing in the respect, because he didn't think that, I mean, it is necessary for me to, do that, right? He wasn't even in thought of that, right? He is actually always meditating upon Lord Hari or Lord Krishna, right? He's not wasting even a single moment of thinking about anything else. So what to say about thinking about giving respect or standing in a posture to give respect to his father-in-law, right? So that actually created raise in his heart, the Daksh Prajapati's heart. But Lord Shiva's intent wasn't to do that, because he was already in a position where he was above all these material obligations or the social protocols. But that created fury in the heart of Daksha Prajapati. And he started speaking wrong about Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva heard very peacefully, and we know that how the in due course, different events took place. But just coming to end, the background here, that Lord Shiva basically, he went away from the assembly, right? But and after that, everything this happened, and Lord Shiva's insult happened, and Nandishwara couldn't tolerate that, right? So in fury, actually, he cursed the Brahmanas, who were there, right? That and on top of that, we know that how Daksha Prajapati insulted not only by words, even by saying that, you know, that whatever yajna that we performed, all the demigods have some share in that, right? And he said that Lord Shiva is not going to take any of the share here, right? Because he is actually not following even the normal social protocols. What to say about giving respect, with awe and reverence, right? And he is actually not following social protocols, and he is actually not befit to take share from the yajna, right? And when all this happened, Nandisara actually wasn't in a thought to give, curse, but somehow or other, actually, he, got furious because of the insult of Lord Shiva, and he cursed all the Brahmanas there. That we know that how he cursed them, right? So when all this happened, then Bhragu Muni, right? When he saw that because the word hereditary Brahmanas is very important, right? So we see that, sometime people actually, take Brahman initiation, right? But they haven't born in Brahmana clan, right? So those who are actually by birth have taken birth in Brahmana family, right? So they are called as hereditary Brahmanas, right? So hereditary Brahmanas are the ones who have taken birth in a Brahmana family. And then again, there are non-hereditary Brahmanas, are those who are by, dint of their, qualification, they have achieved the Brahmanical status, right? So they are non-hereditary because they didn't take birth in Brahman family, but by the qualification that they have achieved, they become Brahmanas, right? So here the particular curse given by Nandishwara was towards those hereditary Brahmanas, right? And when Bhrigu Muni heard this curse, he couldn't tolerate. And in retaliation, actually, or in reaction, he actually started, condemning the followers of Lord Shiva, right? That they are actually ghosts, right? And other spirits, right? And they are unclean people or whatever it may be. So he started condemning the followers of Lord Shiva, and then he given one verse, right? So here the word is used, Brahma Dandam, right? So Brahma Dandam means the punishment of Brahmana, right? So Danda means punishment or curse, right? So Brahma Danda means a curse of Brahmana or punishment of a Brahmana. So similarly, we know that Yama Danda is also there, right? Correct. So that is called as the punishment of Yamaraj. Similarly, the Danda means punishment basically. So we know that there is, the conduct, code of conduct is called as Danda Samhita, right? Danda Samhita means code of punishment basically, right? So you perform this bad activity and you will be given that kind of punishment, right? So Danda means punishment. So here Brahma Dandam means the punishment or the curse of Brahmana. And again, Prabhupada is very nicely explaining here. He is emphasizing on Duratyayam, right? So Duratyayam, Prabhupada is saying, is particularly used in reference to a Brahmana or curse by Brahmana. And curse by Brahmana is very strong, right? So we know that, sometimes, people fight and they actually, give curse to each other, right? That you become this and you become bereft of the property, you become a pauper, right? But they don't have that power, right? But still, they give so many curses. This happened in material world, right? When, some people, or anyway, when you see that, people are fighting, they actually curse each other, right? But that actually doesn't result to any reaction because they are not qualified and they don't have that potency to give curse. But a Brahmana, because of the qualification, because of the austerities that he has performed, he is capable enough to give curses, right? And that one background of it is very important that we need to understand that why actually sometimes we see that, the curse is being given. The reason is that Brahmanas in general give curse to, rectify something or to stop something bad, right? Because sometimes it happens that when people, started creating nuisances in the society, right? And Kshatriyas are not capable enough of, restrict them. At that time, actually, Brahmanas come in the forefront, and by the power of their austerity, they actually try to handle the situation by giving those curses. Right? So here actually Prabhupada is saying that Duratya is very important word to understand that it is insurmountable. Right? It is very difficult to overcome. And similar word is being used by Lord in Bhagavad Gita as well. Right? Deveshe gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So Duratyaya word means insurmountable. And as Prabhupada is saying that Bhagavad Gita, the particular word is very important to understand that what is the meaning of Duratyaya. So the stringent law of nature are insurmountable or very difficult to overcome. But one who has taken shelter of Lord Shri Krishna, he can easily pass over the nuisances of material world. And Bhagavad Gita also says that the curses or benediction of the material world, after all material, but Bhagavad Gita also says that the curses or benediction of the material world are after all material creation. So one thing we need to understand, the most important, aspect of this particular verse is being, discussed here. That whether it's a benediction or it is curse, it's all on the material platform in this world because it is material world and everything is happening over the material realm, right? And Chaitanya Charitamrita very beautifully explained this, that how come, this particular material platform, right? Whatever we say, whatever we do, right? It is all on the material platform. So whether it is good or whether it is bad, everything is bad. Even bad is bad, everyone knows, right? But even good is bad in this world. How come? Here we are talking about benedictions and the curses. So one who is not having any spiritual background and he is given with all the facilities all the treasure of this world, right? Yeah, he's not going to utilize those facilities or that treasure to elevate himself to go beyond the modes of material nature. And he will use that particular those particular facilities or treasure to get more entangled in the modes of material nature. And that's why, even though having facilities, having treasure is good, but because of his utilization of the particular, treasure or facility is not done to elevate himself to a spiritual realm, those benediction become curse to him because he get more entangled in the material world. And it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila in 4th chapter and 176 verse is द्वैते भद्र अभद्र ज्ञान सब मनोधर्म द्वैते भद्र अभद्र ज्ञान सब मनोधर्म एई भला एई मंदा एई सब भ्रम means in this material world the concept of good and bad are all mental speculation, and therefore saying that this is good and this is bad is all mistake. So we need to understand that sometimes we think that curse means it's so bad, right? And it is actually meant to harm someone, because the intention uh, behind giving the curse is different actually, because sometimes the curse is given to rectify someone, right? And sometimes the curse is given to harm someone, and most of the time it is to harm someone, right? So danda is given by Yamraj also to the living entities, those who are not on the righteous path. But that danda is not curse, right? That danda is that punishment is meant to rectify the living entity. So similarly, if we see that parents sometimes become, harsh to children, to their children, right? But the very point of a father is slapping a son, or a mother is slapping a son or daughter, is to rectify them, is not to harm them, basically, right? So that punishment cannot be called as curse, right? Whereas a curse is something which is again a danda, a punishment only, but that punishment is meant to retaliate something. That punishment is meant to harm someone, right? So we need to understand that not all curses are bad and not all curses are good. But in this material world, whatever is benediction or it is curse, everything is on the same platform. So therefore, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that saying that this is good and this is bad is all mistake. Because ultimately, everything is mental speculation only. And that's why the concept of good and bad are on material platform and on the mental speculation. So that's why the Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the absolute truth, right? And he actually ever existing with different varieties of energies. And when one is absorbed in the illusory energy of Krishna and cannot understand Krishna, one cannot ascertain that what is good for him and what is bad, right? So this is very important, that when one is absorbed in the Maya, right, he cannot understand Krishna, right? And when devotees of the Lord are always under the influence of Devi Maya, not the Yog Maya, right? So we need to understand that how come it is, it's bad for someone is good for, someone, right? And at the same time, the concept of good and bad are all imagination only and mental speculation, because whenever the curse is given, right, or the danda is given, right, so the end result, right, we see that, end result is more important. So sometimes it's give happiness, sometimes it is give, grief or sadness in life, the curses basically, right? But again, as long as we have body, we have this body, we actually inflicted with that, curse, when we accept it as curse, right? But the devotees of the Lord, actually, they never accept curse as curse. They accept curse as a, way of accepting Lord's plan, right? So that we see in the devotee's life, because that's why the devotee is beyond the duality, the dual nature of this material world. Because for them, the inconveniences of this world are not making them sad, right? Because they know that, this will also pass. Even in the bad times, they actually accept it as Lord's plan, and when the good times comes, they actually utilize that time to elevate themselves to, a spiritual realm. And that's why it is said, because I have heard in one of the lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was saying that bad times are to take shelter of the Lord, and good times, actually, we should prepare ourselves. Right? Good times are for to prepare ourselves, and bad times is to uh, uh, take shelter of the Lord. And this is what devotees of the Lord does. We have, uh, numerous examples in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas as well, where devotees have exhibited that quality of accepting everything as Lord's plan, whether it is good or bad, curse or benediction, whatever it may be. We know that how Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed by Mata Parvati, right? But he didn't retaliate. He was having all the powers. And he has actually, before that, he has, face to face, actually, he had darshan of Lord Sankarshana, right? But still, having capability of giving, counter curse, right? He could have, given curse to Mata Parvati because he was having that power. But this is the beauty of Lord's devotees, that they do not retaliate. He took that curse as a plan of Lord Sri Krishna, right? And he accepted it with folded hands. And this is how the devotees of the Lord actually act in this world. And they set an example for all the devotees to follow, those who are going to come in the due course of time. And they have to understand that everything in this world is bad only, because this is what the nature of this world. And this is what being said by Lord also, that dukhalayam ashashvatam. So it is temporary, and it is ocean of miseries, right? So no matter how much we try to make ourselves happy and comfortable in this life, we cannot do it, because ultimately the nature of this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. And the devotees of the Lord knows this fact from the bottom of their heart, and they have actually inculcated those characteristics in their personality by which they exhibit that kind of behavior. It is not that they are actually, doing it superficially. From the bottom of their heart, they actually know that whatever is happening in this material world is never going to stay forever. It is temporary in nature. And the whatever is giving happiness to in this world, at some point in time, the same source of happiness become the source of miseries, right? And we know that, if someone is too attached to the property, right, at the end moment of his life, he become very morose, right? Because now everything will go away from his hand. He can't take away even a single penny, though he may be having thousands of crores or lakhs of crores in his account. but he cannot take even a single penny with him. And that's a pain, right? Because so all the energies is went in that direction to earn that, right? But now, at the end moment of life, we cannot take even a single penny, and that create a great, sorrow in the heart. But the devotees of the Lord, on the other hand, they know that whatever is given to us is for the service of the Krishna, right? So they don't worry whether it is taken or given, because they know that this is whatever is happening as per the will of the Lord. And that's why they remain in a peaceful state, in a calm state. And that's why the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that devotee who is actually working beyond the modes of material nature, beyond the duality of this material nature, are very dear to me. And if we want to become dear to the Lord, and this is the formula, that we actually act in accordance with the will of the Lord. And if we do that without taking the distress and the happiness of this world on our heart and become, afflicted by those conditions, then we can actually, please Lord. And this is the aim of the life, right? Yashmin tushte jagat tushte. If we can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we can satisfy everyone, right? Similarly, it's the same thing, right? If we water the root of the tree, then the whole tree get nourished. And if we please Lord Krishna, then we are pleasing everyone, right? Including our family members, right? What to say about demigods? They are already satisfied when they see that we are acting according to the will of the Lord, right? So it is very important for us to understand that not all the curses are bad and not all the benedictions are good, but in fact everything, to say something is bad and something is good, is again a mistake, right? So why it is so? Because Lord's devotees never ever bother about the curse or benediction. And numerous examples are there, as we discussed. One of the example of uh, Lord Brahma, sorry, one of the example of we have just now discussed. And in that example, we see that Chitraketu Maharaj, right? Though cursed by Mata Parvati, he didn't retaliate, right? But if we see there are many instances or example as well where Brahmanas, being at a supreme position and knowing all the Vedas, they actually sometimes act in retaliation, right? As we know that in the case of Parikshit Maharaj, right? The son of Shamik Rishi, right? He became furious when he saw a dead snake, right, around the neck of his father. Shangi Rishi, when he saw Shamik Rishi's neck is, covered with snake, he became very furious and he actually cursed Parikshit Maharaj, right? Similarly, when Chitraketu Maharaj actually laughed on a particular situation, then Mata Parvati, took it as an insult of Lord Shiva, and she actually, cursed Chitraketu Maharaj. So we know that, sometimes even the personalities on the higher realm, they actually sometimes, curse as an act of retaliation. But the devotees of the Lord are actually act very differently, right? So just being at a higher position doesn't mean that you have, cross over the modes of material nature, right? So even if you are a demigod, you can actually act in retaliation, but you can be as insignificant as a human, but still, if you are a devotee of the Lord, you will not retaliate, right? So this is what we need to understand, that whatever is happening in this world is happening according to the will of the Lord. And that's how the devotees of the Lord actually act, right? And when we act according to the will of the Lord, we satisfy the Lord. And this is the aim of our life, right? So in this particular verse, if you see, again at the end, Prabhupada is explaining that the person who has taken shelter of Krishna is always peaceful. And that's why the devotees of the Lord are always peaceful. They are never, and what is that? They are never cursed by anyone, or nor they attempt to curse anyone. And that is transcendental position. And because of they have taken shelter of the Lord, they cross over those material modes of nature. And that's what Lord is saying, right? Mame vaye prapadyanti maya meta taranti te. So what is Maya? The three modes of material nature, which is very difficult to overcome. But when one takes shelter of the Lord, then actually he becomes transcendental to all this duality of the material world. So that's why he is always peaceful. And to take it further on the realm of spirituality, the devotee of the Lord is not having any grudges in their heart. Correct. They are, clear of all the anarthas. And the very reason why they are, not having a tinge of anarthas, because of they have taken the shelter of the Lord, right? When we take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, then our heart get purified of those anarthas, right? And when we are, you know, free of all the attachments and the dualities, right? Or anything of this material world, then we actually come to the spiritual platform. And that is the platform where everyone is peaceful. And because of that, everyone they see Lord in them, right? Even if they are seeing, even an ant or an elephant, they see Lord in them. And that's what it is said in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Brahmana Samadarshini. So a Brahman is one who is equipoised, right? And he see everyone as on the same platform. Why? Because he actually sees Lord in everyone. And that's why the Brahmana is one, not by the definition of Brahmana, but the Brahmana is the one who is actually a Vaishnava first, and then he become a Brahmana. That's why he is actually seeing Lord in all the living entities, irrespective of whatever the body they may have, right? They can have a body of Chandala, or a dog, or a woman, but a Lord is residing in everyone's heart, right? Sarvasya Cham Hradi Sannivishto. I am actually residing in everyone's heart. And that's what Lord is saying. And the devotees of the Lord are actually, fulfilling the words of the Lord, because they are seeing Lord in everyone's heart. Lord is saying, I'm in everyone's heart, and devotees actually seeing Lord in everyone's heart. And that's why we need to understand that, and Prabhupada is also saying here that the best path is to transcend all material curses and benediction and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it's not that easy actually, right? Taking shelter actually sometimes take, millions of lives, and sometimes it actually takes us even a single second, right? And that all depends upon how much we are sincere in following the instructions of our previous acharyas and the instruction given by Lord himself in various scriptures. And the summum bonum of all those scriptures is Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. If we can follow the instructions of Lord and instructions of our acharyas, our spiritual master, then there is no doubt that we can transcend the modes of material nature, the duality of this material world, and we can also become peaceful, right? We can also can taste the Sharanagati, right? But Sharanagati is not that easy. But if we can follow instructions with all our heart and soul, then actually we can someday we will be in that position where we will be free of all the entanglement of this world, and we can transcend the modes of material nature, and we can also be at the platform where nothing can actually influence the happiness of our mind and heart. So with that, actually, I will give rest to my voice. If you have any question, then I can take.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Uttam Nambar Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for a very, very nectarian class. Just a recap of the story of Maharaj Ketu and Mother Parvati, if you can just give a little this one, that'll help. I think I somehow missed out on that.
Okay. So, the point that we were discussing is that the devotees of the Lord are, never ever actually get inflicted by the external, influences. And their position is that even if somebody is insulting them, they do not say anything to them, and or they do not retaliate basically. So here actually we were trying to explain that when Mata Parvati, cursed Maharaj Chitraketu, then he didn't retaliate actually. He didn't, because even if he's having the power to counter curse, and he could have cursed Mata Parvati as well because he was having that power, but still he remained equipoised, and he actually with folded hands took that curse as a benediction, and he took that curse as a plan or the will of the Lord, and he accepted with folded hands. And this is the position of the Lord. They do not retaliate. Here actually, if you see, though Bhragu Muni or Sage Bhragu is at a higher position, but still he is not at the position of the devotee actually. And that's why he counter cursed Nandishwara. And maybe it is because of he wanted to correct him, but it is more of retaliation than correction. Is that answer?
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. The Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
The Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanand.